Welcome back to Jungbeop Talk. In today's episode, we continue our discussion on public life and the deeper societal issues we face. Now, we've been exploring how welfare systems have evolved since World War II, and there's been a significant shift, hasn't there?
Absolutely. It's shocking when you think about it. After the war, the population doubled, but so did the number of people relying on welfare. So the question is, why haven't we managed to solve the problem? We just keep creating more recipients without addressing the root causes.
It's kind of a paradox, isn't it? More people, more welfare recipients, but no real solution in sight. And the bigger issue is that if this continues, we might all end up in that same situation in the future, right? Ending up in welfare facilities as we get older?
Exactly. Imagine working your whole life for your children, hoping for a better future, and then, in the end, you're left waiting in a welfare facility, separated from your family. It's a harsh reality that many are facing now.
That's the real issue. A lot of people who helped build the nation have now become early retirees, struggling to make ends meet. These were the same people who contributed to the country's growth, but now they're lost. They should be enjoying their retirement, but instead, they're struggling.
And that's the part that's troubling. Why didn't they have a way to secure happiness for themselves after all their hard work? It's like a big societal blind spot. Most people can't figure it out, but the intellectuals, those who are enlightened by the truth, could. And that's the real challenge we face.
So you're suggesting that intellectuals should step in and guide us toward a solution, right? They should be the ones to illuminate a path for everyone.
Exactly. If we don't find a solution now, we'll be walking the same path our older generations did. The system, as it stands, is not designed for individuals to hold on to wealth for long. Money is starting to concentrate in fewer places, and no matter how hard we try, we won't be able to escape that trend.
And that's where the law of grand nature comes into play, right? It's not just about working harder for money. The real focus should be on doing your work correctly, with the right intention, and then the money will follow naturally.
Right. Money will never come to those who are driven purely by greed. The moment you focus solely on making money, you've already lost. The world has already set a course, and that course isn't in favor of personal greed. It's about aligning with the right principles.
That brings us to the concept of justification for earning money. In the past, the older generations worked hard to avoid hunger and hardship for their families. But now it feels like young people are chasing after money to buy things, houses, cars, and so on. That's their motivation, and it's driven by greed, not necessity.
Yes, the older generations didn't have that same greed. They worked with a public mindset. They wanted to secure their families and avoid the struggles of the past. That's why they were blessed with wealth. But today's youth? They're too focused on personal desires.
And it's interesting because the intellectuals of our time, who used to value knowledge and ideals, are now asking for money. But they didn't prioritize wealth when they were younger. So now they're left with knowledge, not wealth. It's almost like the universe is rewarding us based on what we valued in our youth.
Exactly. And the irony is, now that they want money, it's too late. If they had asked for wealth during their formative years, with justification, they might have had both wealth and knowledge. But now they have knowledge, and that's all.
It's a hard lesson to learn, but it's true. The law of grand nature works in mysterious ways, but it's also very precise. Wealth comes to those who are aligned with the right principles, not to those who chase it out of greed.
And that's where the intellectuals come in. We should be using our wisdom, gained through enlightenment, to manage the world. Only then will wealth follow naturally. The goal isn't to chase after wealth for its own sake, but to understand and apply the laws that govern it.
So, what does that mean for the future? How can we as a society move forward and ensure that those in hardship are cared for? How do we create a society that doesn't just focus on profit, but on genuine welfare?
The first step is a social welfare project. One that goes beyond the typical volunteer work people think of, like giving food or donating goods. It's about creating a real system that addresses the needs of those who are isolated or suffering. It's not just about charity, it's about systemic change.
That's a great point. Most people see welfare work as small gestures, like washing the disabled or bringing them bread. But it's so much more. We need to shift our thinking. This is about truly understanding the problem and working toward long-term solutions.
Exactly. It's a process of learning, not just helping. When we hear about people in difficulty, we should ask ourselves how we can truly help, not just as a short-term fix, but as part of a larger, more sustainable solution.
And that brings us back to the 30% to 70% rule of grand nature. At first, we hear about the struggles of others at a distance, then we start hearing from those close to us. And eventually, we face those struggles ourselves. It's all interconnected.
And when we understand this, we realize that we can no longer ignore the struggles of others. It's not enough to just hear about them. We have to face them head on, and that's the only way we can create a society that truly cares for its most vulnerable.
It's a big task, but it's the only way forward. The new era is about understanding that we're all connected, and the future will be determined by how well we take care of each other, not by how much money we can accumulate.
Absolutely. And as we continue to learn and grow, we'll understand more about the principles that govern this world. Only then will we be able to make real, lasting changes for everyone.
That's a powerful thought. Well, we'll continue this conversation next time. Stay tuned for more in episode 3.
End of episode 2.